Many thanks for joining us again today. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you enjoying the holidays. It's Boxing Day, isn't it? And the best gift that inhabitants of Borno State, most especially around Sambisa forest, could get is the liberation of the Sambisa forest on Friday, according to the defense headquarters. And according to Shetima, the governor of Borno State, he said that's the most valuable gift in a very long time. This gift for the people of Borno. Major roads are going to be open because of the progress and achievement of the Nigerian army. That's a plus, a good one. Hopefully that will last for a long time. That's what we are discussing today. And to help us do the discussion, I have a barrister Rotimi Ogunwi, sole administrator, Moson Okunla, LCDA. Thank you very much for joining us, barrister.
Thank you very much.
And also Major Debo Bashoro, retired security consultant. Thank you for joining us, Major.
My pleasure.
Okay, good news according to what we heard. What's your own take about the liberation of the Sambisa forest, the dreaded Sambisa forest?
Well, it's not a eureka yet, because some of these extremists that have been driven out of Sambisa, who are on the run now, they want to regroup. So I will ask Nigerians not to sleep with their two eyes closed now, because there are some extremists among them who still want to cause havoc here and there, because they've lost the ground, but they don't believe they've lost the fight. So there are still some elements who could be lurking around, trying to inflict maximum damage on the psyche of the Nigerian people. So everybody must watch out.
Everybody should.
Should watch out, yes.
Okay. How possible is it for the army to say they've entirely combed 60,000 square kilometers, right, or thereabout, of a massive land space? That's what I'm talking about. And be rest assured, okay, we've combed the entire Sambisa. Is it possible?
Theoretically, yes. But practically, you might encounter some obstacles here and there. And that's why I use the word that people should be on the alert. Some might have escaped the dragnet. What the military will just do is to cordon up the area, sending people to flush those who are behind in there out, so that those on there's something we call the diamond formation in the army. Those on the periphery of that forest will not take on those who will be trying to flee. But for that kind of forest, and you're talking of a forest here, very thick, wooded area,
yes,
it's going to be difficult.
Very difficult.
Yes.
Okay, let me go to you, sir. Apparently, with this information coming out today, I know the opposition, basically maybe the PDP, will be saying, oh, these guys have come with their lies again. You know, eventually when they said the Boko Haram took our girls, the Chibok girls, you know, some people still don't believe the Chibok girls are missing.
Yes.
Even all these, they believe it's the charade. What are they saying again? Nobody has taken over Sambisa forest. And even compounded with the fact that, you know, last year, the Boko Haram was technically defeated. Eventually, they raised their ugly head again. Do you think now the opposition will believe, or some other people that think this never happened will believe this is true?
I want to add to what Captain has said. You see, the issue of the opposition, there's nothing good the opposition will see in this government. And we are all living witness to all these things. During the time of the ex-president, I was on a program like this when we said, it's because they are not sincere. That is why we find ourselves where we are today. And for what has happened, it's a thing for us to see. Governor Shetima, I believe, will be one of the luckiest and one of the happiest man today for what has happened in the Sambisa forest. So the issue of opposition, we have politicized everything in this country. Even when the government is doing the unbelievables. Unbelievables in the sense that nobody would have thought by this time when the president promised before the end of 2006, the Boko Haram extremists would have been wiped out of Sambisa, which is what is happening now. So
And you think the government is not playing to the gallery?
At all. The government is, before the government could make such statements, they have assessed the stronghold of these people, and knowing fully well that with the capacity and what we have in place with the Nigerian army, they are people we can overrun, which has happened now.
Okay, let me take you from what we have in place. And let's talk about what the Nigerian army has got in place now. Because the fight against Boko Haram, people will say it's because the army never had the right equipment. That's why it lasted until this time. And you remember the monies that were meant to fight Boko Haram were siphoned one way or the other. I heard 5 U.S. mine detectors. United States government gave us 5 mine detectors. Could that be part of the things that made Nigeria to win this war, apparently win this war against the terrorists in the Sambisa forest? And again, we had a lot of planes working from the Air Force side.
Well, if you cast our minds back, I think as far back as 1964, we were at the same level militarily with, I mean we, when I say we, Nigeria was at the same level with India and
Pakistan?
Brazil.
Okay, Brazil. Okay.
Brazil. That's where all of us set up the Nigerian Defense Industries Corporation. Well, unfortunately, because of the persistent corruption that has eaten up the fabric of this country by previous administrations, we couldn't make a leap. Mine detectors are not something of a big deal if we've got the right thing in the right places. Those are things these other countries are manufacturing now. Yes. But it's big news to us because we couldn't do it. Because of what? Because of the past records of the past administrations. And having got that, it's a morale booster for the boys. Because most of them have been decapitated by bombs, you know, IEDs and so on and so forth. So it's a big relief. It gave them some happy hands somehow.
So apparently, are we getting, because they said that Germany also helped us with some information, are we saying we're getting the desired assistance from the foreign countries?
Well, if you say desired, that should be in quotes. Remember, there's nothing goes for nothing with these Western people.
Because I know even United States of America, there were some Chinook helicopters we were going to get from, was it Brazil at the end of the day?
Yes.
They did not allow us access to it because of perceived human rights violation.
That's balderdash, I can tell you that. But I can tell you, the interests of these countries come first. I don't care who you are. When we go to them, cap in hand begging for something, they will choose what to give and what not to give. It's always been like that. So for them to say it's because of human rights, what human rights? I mean, there was a story that was thrown out somewhere a few weeks back that nothing is happening here, but still, in the Western press, you see something like that. They can do and undo there. And that's why I'm looking forward to a Nigeria whereby we can be on our own. We can be able to stand
independent.
Independent, that's the right one.
Okay.
You know, so that we can do things the way we want to do things.
Wonderful. Barrister, let me take this to you. What do you think? Do we have to, how do I put it, depend on these people?
With where we find ourselves today, at least, I doubt if we can stand on our own for now.
We need help for now.
Yes, we need help for now. See what happened? There was a time we approached, even despite the fact that we have the funds to buy these things, they rejected. They said they are not selling. It shows militarily, in terms of achieving some of these things, we are not capable to be on our own for now. So definitely, and one of the bane, like we've all known, one of the bane problem of this country is corruption. It's not as if we don't have the technical know-how. It's not as if we don't have the people who can do this thing for Nigerians, but because the level of corruption in this country has eaten up all things. You can imagine the monumental fraud that was committed, the level of the embezzlement of the money meant for some of these arms.
2.1 billion.
2.1 billion. And that is the main reason why we have not been able to flush these people out before now. I want to believe that.
All right, then. We need to go on a short break. When we come back, the discussion continues. Don't go anywhere, please. Welcome back. I still have Barrister Rotimi Ogunwuyi, Sole Administrator, Mosan Okunola Local Government Area, or LCDA, and Major Debo Basho, retired as security consultant. I thank you, gentlemen, for staying with us. Okay. The news we had after the containment of Sambisa Forest was no commander alive. They told us what happened. There were different formations. They went through different routes to make sure they combed the entire Sambisa Forest. But that was on Friday or yesterday. But the front page of Punch is saying Chibok girls close to regaining freedom. That's the DHQ. And this report was given to us on a Sunday. So there's a confusion in me now. If the Chibok girls are close to regaining freedom, and you said we've combed the Sambisa Forest, so where could they, because we're talking about the Camp Zero or Ground Zero, as you were saying, is it the Ground Zero that we're expecting to see the girls and we've not combed the Ground Zero?
I think that's a belated report you are trying to quote now, because the latest things on the ground show that Ground Zero has been secured by the military now.
So where could the girls be?
Well, that's why I said it's a belated report. It depends on when the reporter sends the message from me. And for them to have a banner headline, if they want to sell their paper, they have to put something out. By the time the military got to Ground Zero, none of these guys were around. Even though they rescued about 2,000 plus people, from the enclave there. But what I want to believe is that these girls have been dispersed. Those of them who are left, who have not been returned back to Nigeria, to countries like Niger, married off and that kind of thing. Remember that these people are vagrants. I mean, the terrorists, they don't have a steady place to call their own. They move from point A to point B to point C, so that you cannot place them easily. And that's why to draw a conclusion that the war is over now, that we have won entirely, that will be contestable. Because you will still see some of these elements on their own, even without their command and control now. They still go out on their own and decide to do things, cause havoc, shoot people down.
Because they've been brainwashed already.
Oh, they've been brainwashed. And you can see examples from all the countries that have been facing insurrection for 50 years, like Abu Sayyaf in the Philippines. They've been there forever. Even where America, who's supposed to be the strongest army in the world.
They got issues also.
Yes, they've got issues. Go to all the Middle East countries, they have problems all over the place. Because I think it's a human element of our life that somebody will just believe in something who has been brainwashed and say, well, on my own, this is what I'm going to do. And how he goes or she goes there and does it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. What do you think, Barrister? Because at the end of the day, of recent, we were seeing suicide bombers, ladies, girls, and now that we don't even have of these girls in the Sambisa Forest, is there not a correlation somewhere? Maybe these girls are the suicide bombers, or do you think we will still find these girls intact, the Chibok girls?
I think it might be impossible for us to find all these girls intact. They might have been married out to some of their. There was even a time they said some of them are even sold out to some of these.
Yes.
So it is difficult for us to find all these girls intact. And we cannot rule out the possibility that some of them might have been brainwashed to the extent of taking up the issue of suicide bombing. And like we have said, it is not over until it is over. I want to say that very, very soon, the military should not sleep and you should not think they have taken over these people without some pocket of resistance from some of them. Very soon you will be hearing of cases of suicide bomber because they have lost the ground. And the only thing for them to do is wherever we think we can, for somebody who has been brainwashed for many years and suddenly they are displaced. No commander to direct, nothing to, that training they got, they will still want to.
And they still have the ideology also.
Exactly, it's still there.
Okay.
The ideology is still there. The belief is still there.
Okay. What do you think, sir, Major? At the end of the day, initially when we had the idea of Sambisa Forest, we just thought Sambisa Forest was just a forest. It was of recent or later that we started hearing that even Sambisa Forest used to have the National Guards then. It was a place meant for training in the 80s of soldiers. And they had underground buildings. They have water. They have everything in the Sambisa Forest. So what do you think the government will turn that place to at the end of the day? Are we going to leave Sambisa Forest as Sambisa Forest, or should the soldiers eventually take over Sambisa Forest? Because part of the forest was meant for the soldiers initially.
Well, I'm very much aware, and I'm trying to be current here, that the Nigerian Army engineers have been mandated by the defense headquarters now to start mapping out widening of roads. They want to make that place as much more habitable as it can possibly be. Added to that, some of these tunnels and training, they are derelict now. Most of them are disused, except that the terrorists might be using them to do their training. I think it's still an asset to the military for training purposes. We believe the defense headquarters will want to develop that place to meet the sign of the times, not what it used to be. Because if you talk about when that place was actually started, we used to use conquer, this cocker fire rifles. The world has gone far, far ahead of that. I think they will do the right thing, the needful. And with President Buhari in command, he's a well-known man who can articulate what the military should do in that situation to make it a better equimilitary.
But with that vast of land, 60,000 square kilometer forest, and we're talking about grazing. We have issues with grazing. Even they said the Nigerian Army, we have to establish grazing reserves. Can't we use Sambisa Forest for something positive? With the heat coming, the sun, the energy there, we can have maybe like solar panels and start generating electricity from Sambisa Forest, or the military can take over. We could. What do you think? What do you think, Barrister?
The attitude of our leaders caused us what we are facing in this country. I believe if Sambisa has not been abandoned, it wouldn't have been an abode for the Boko Haram. It was because they abandoned that place. And with what has happened now, I think we should convert that place to a meaningful, so something that will be beneficial to Nigerians. If we are talking of that large expanse, because initially we thought, well, they said Sambisa, I was thinking, is Sambisa not in Nigeria? With that large expanse of land, I think it could be made use of in a way that it will benefit Nigerians. Like the issue of grazing and other things, that is the Fulani Headsmen and all, that is causing a problem all over the country. I believe such places could be made used for them.
Wonderful, because you took us now, since you've taken us to the Headsmen issue. So, of recent, we had some Nigerians killed in southern Kaduna because of this Headsmen issue. Because President Buhari was saying of recent, if we can tackle security, I think everything will follow easily. If you have peace of mind, at least we can take care. Even peace of mind in the Niger Delta, peace of mind in the Northeast, peace of mind everywhere in Nigeria. At least we'll concentrate on generating enough to even help the nation. What do you think? How can these headsmen issue be taken care of?
Yeah, I want to shed some light on that place we call Sambisa. Remember, that's not a savanna area. That's a thick wooded forest. So it's not going to be the right place for cattle to feed, for grazing. So we can count, unless maybe the government now clears a large expanse out of
plants.
this, and converts it, which is possible if the government wants to do. One thing I've realized is that I don't want to believe that the president was pretending when he gave the orders that the law enforcement should go after these people who are breaking the laws, the quote-unquote, the Fulani headsmen that we call them. I think it's left for the law enforcement agents, the commanders, those who are leading the team, to actually enforce the law. If we rely on Buhari doing everything, even if he doesn't, even because I've discussed with some people and they say the man doesn't really mean it because, hey, he's a Fulani man himself. But even if he pretends to have given that order, let's test the waters and let's some of these security officers, the leaders,
take the order.
Take the order and execute it. Let's see what will come out of it.
Okay, sir.
But some of them, they have resigned themselves to fate that, oh, okay, these are gray areas I don't want to go to.
Okay. We need to go on yet another break where we'll come back. A lot to be discussed. Don't go away. Okay, welcome back. You're still watching This Morning on Television Continental. Let me take the second question, the other question now to you, Barrister. What do you think? The same question I asked the Major. What do you think? Because it's tired like this, the Boko Haram menace. It's tired like what is going on with the headsmen. Before you knew it, they became a terror. So what do you think? If these guys are not curtailed on time, talking about the headsmen, you can recall what happened in the northern Kaduna of recent, southern Kaduna of recent, 5 were killed. How do you think the government can manage what is going on?
I think whatever the government wants to do, they need to be proactive about it. And this is, we all know as a matter of fact that this is how Boko Haram started. They just started like a group, Mohammed Yusuf, or what do you call it? They started like a, before we know what was going on, it became a scandal. It became an albatross on Nigerians. So I want to strongly advise, in most of the developed country, it's not as if we have those grass there for them to move in. If truly the government is planning for them, it's something we can plant and secure the place for them. Make sure you plant all these grasses that is needed. Move them to that, because I don't see.
But they don't have to bring grasses from Brazil.
They don't.
Yes.
We are blessed with all those things. We are blessed with all those
Argentina,
things.
where was it that
you see, I believe this present government will not will not allow that, because our previous government, they even bring sand from US.
Okay.
They even import some of these things from. But you see, talking seriously now.
Before you go there, I don't want to miss this call for anything. From Kaduna, Ayuba. Good morning, Ayuba.
Good morning, Dapo.
How are you, sir?
Fine. Good morning to your guests.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. You see, Dapo, I want to use this medium to congratulate the federal government for winning the battle against Boko Haram in the Northeast.
Okay.
And that having said, without missing words, Dapo, I want to tell you that the killing in southern Kaduna, honestly, I must tell you that whether they like to take it or not, those people are Boko Haram.
The people of
Yes,
Boko Haram.
I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. Those people are Boko Haram. The pattern of killing and the way they look like, those people are just Boko Haram. They are the Boko Haram that have been chased from northeast. They now came down to Southern Kaduna to take over Southern Kaduna. And I want to tell you this, if the government do not take proactive action now, honestly, this thing is going to be offhand. Thank you. Have a quality day.
Thank you, Ayuba. You see, it's not as if I've read somewhere before we brought this up, like the people, the way they are going about this thing is the way Boko Haram style. It's not as if I read it somewhere else before. I'm listening to Ayuba now saying with the way they are operating, they look like Boko Haram. So, as you were saying, how do we deal with these guys straight?
Yes, from what Ayuba has said, he wants us to believe they are not Headsmen, they are Boko Haram, who ran away from, who escaped from the hands of the Nigerian armed forces. You see, if they are not, but if they are Headsmen, as we are saying, I think the best thing for us is there must be planning. What we lack in this country is that we don't have developmental plans. All these things by now. You see, the unfortunate thing about what we are saying is, who are these Headsmen?
I wonder.
Who are these Headsmen? Is it not the same people? Some of our farmers, big farmers, come to think of it, gives out, or who are in charge of their livestock, who are in charge of their cows. So you see, there is need for us to have plans for all these people.
There's a need for us to have plans. Yakub for Dokwemu. Good morning, Yakub.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
And then good morning to the Major and the Honorable.
Good morning.
You see, therefore, let me begin by saying that I congratulate the Nigerian federal government, even though I don't believe the war has been won, because though Mr. President promised us that he's going to deal with the Boko Haram, and then he's doing so, we applaud him for that. And then God Almighty allows is keeping him in that power. Therefore, the war has not been won.
Okay.
You see, these people, all of them now, they are scattered because of our Nigerian army. In fact, I dust my heart for them. Some of them have been died. But the question I want to ask this one is this, therefore. You see, in the course of fighting Boko Haram, a lot of our army, a lot of our gallant military personnel, some of them have been died. Therefore, what is going on with their family? That is point number one. The second question is this. You are talking about Chibok area. Do you know we cannot be able to see all those guys, all of them again? Because some of them are being a suicide bomber. They have already brainwashed them. Some of them have been married out to their colleagues. Some of them are even be Therefore, we are talking about X-Men and these people that attack Southern Kaduna now.
Yes.
Therefore, if the investigation is thorough, you find that some of them will be a Boko Haram people. And then by this time of the day now, our intelligent military should be off doing now.
Okay.
Because these people, they are already scattered. They are going in and out of Nigeria.
All right, and thank you, Yakub. Let me take you from there and give it to Major. What do you think? Because this is the second person saying it. Because the Ministry of Interior, that's a message now. Because practically the Ministry of Interior should be in charge of all this before calling on maybe the Nigerian Army or the armed forces, before calling on them to help us out. What do you think the Ministry of Interior, because Dambazwa has been quiet of recent, what do you think they are doing now? Should they wait until this degenerates into something else?
Remember, in my opening statements, I alluded to the fact that we've won the battle, but not the war.
Yes.
This is still part of the war. Because if you have instability somewhere, you have it everywhere. One thing is going to affect the other. I think the best bet, which the previous government have neglected, is the setting up of grazing areas, which the government should start embarking on doing now. You see, some of the reasons why all this thing is being blown out of proportion now is because of the climate change. Lake Chad is drying up. Everything is drying up. So people look for where to exist.
The greener pasture.
The greener pastures. And that's why you see all this violation coming down south, which is still more greener than most parts of the north. So if I were an advisor to the government, I would suggest they should quickly set up grazing areas. And the world has left this issue of driving cattle all over the place. They've left it behind 100 years ago. We should modernize and look for something else that will not, infringe on other people's rights. So that it doesn't cause more problem.
Sam Ali, good morning. Hello, Sam Ali.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sam Ali, yeah, good morning. We're waiting for you.
Dapper, good morning.
Good morning. Merry Christmas.
First, I want to disagree with Ayuba, who said it's escapees from Sambisa forest that are fighting in Southern Kaduna.
Okay.
Southern Kaduna is an area I know very well. It has not been well in that area for years now, not now.
It has not been well.
If I may ask, is Sambisa forest the only area in the northeast where these people are operating? We know very well the northeast is where these people are operating. Vis-a-vis Borno, Adamawa, Yobe. Taraba and Bauchi. So why are we being told that it's only Sambisa forest these people are? I think it is painful for a politician telling us that the statement from the military is playing to the gallery of the hands of the political opponents. It's not so. This is a Nigeria issue. We politicians, please don't play with the stomach of Nigeria when an issue of this nature comes up. We are talking of the lives of Nigerians. It has nothing to do whether it is a PDP issue. We pray that the Boko Haram is eliminated from Nigeria completely. It has nothing to do whether it's PDP or APC.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. When he said politician, I'm not sure it was you he was talking about, really.
No.
No. Okay. Let's come to prevention. You know, all this, really, we have the JTF now. A JTF came up after the real menace had started. Let's link what is happening in Lagos to what is happening in the Northeast. They're talking about prevention. We have the neighborhood watch. Tell us about that. How can that, maybe in your own local government or LCDA, how can that one prevent anything or any crime or, any crime before it happens?
Thank you. Like we all know, as a matter of fact, if truly we want to run true federalism, policing is not something that should be centralized.
Is that the problem we're having now?
Yes, it's part of the problem we're having. That's why we have been finding it difficult to police our community. The essence of the Neighborhood Safety Agency law that was passed by His Excellency Governor Akinwumi Ambode is to ensure that we bring people closer, police closer to the people in terms of community policing. We have neighborhood watch, who are very, very close. Most of them are your next neighbor. They know what is happening to you. With that, it can be easily, the level of crime in an environment could be easily detected, because I know
you know each other.
Like I've traveled.
Can you reserve that thought, please? You traveled, and that's where you're going to continue from. Okay, Adedoye, good morning.
Good morning, Dapper.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen in the house.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Boko Haram insurgency fight against this thing. But for all I care, insurgency in the world is not something you can just be boast about as, okay, you've actually won it. You understand? Because I don't understand where they are coming from. Of course, I give it to them. All the military men, personnel in Nigeria, I give it to them. They really tried. But they shouldn't be so confident about it that they've done the war. Because even in America today, they cannot boast and come out that they've actually won the war. The truth is that Sambisa forest can be converted into agricultural this thing. So,
but what do you think are they doing? Because according to Shetima, I said, what is happening is this Borno's year of hope and resurrection.
Oh,
shouldn't you be hearing something like that?
To politicalize everything. I don't believe in politics. We are talking about Nigerians' lives here. You understand? They should be proactive. You understand? All the states that are being affected, they should just do something. You understand?
All right.
We should adopt all the future distance. So there's no way we can really boast about that we actually won the war against terrorism.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you so much.
I don't have the technical, I don't know how.
All right, then. Thank you. That takes us to another break. Don't forget, I'll come back to you, Barrister. Don't go anywhere, please. Welcome back. We're still looking at the fight against terrorism and the news that Sambisa forest has been finally cleared by gallant soldiers. That's what we're looking at. And before we went on break, we were talking about prevention. What's happened in the northeast part of Nigeria could be prevented. And what is happening again, talking about the headsmen, could be prevented. And using Lagos as a case study and using the neighborhood security watch as another case study. How can that prevent? And I interrupted you. You said something about when you traveled.
You see, what I was just trying to say is, you see the difference between Nigerian police and some other police in other developed worlds is that they rely only on information. People are willing to give information. The reverse is the case in Nigeria. We should stop giving lip service to the fact that police are your friends.
Apostle has been holding on since. I thought you were going to land before I take him. Apostle Diamond. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas to you, sir.
You see, the issue of Sambisa forest, like the military gave the topography, is just like Enugu State. And it spreads across not only Borno State, because you mentioned that Shetima should be happy now. It's not only Shetima. It spreads to all those, almost 5 states in that place where Sambisa forest is. It spreads to those states.
Yes, states.
It's a very big place. And if you look at Madagali, where the Hausa will call Bakin, it's just like the gateway to the other to Sambisa forest. So same thing, Kunduga and the agris along Bama, which and within the periphery of Potiskum. So that is why we need to travel to see these things ourselves and know what is actually going on. Not pathetic, and but in the spirit of nationalism, we will go beyond this and have peace in this country.
Okay.
Then number 3 is that we should look at the military intelligence. As far as Kaduna State is concerned, we have known about the Mali Lekwa people, the Southern Zaria, and all the northern people, the northern elite. All of them don't stay in their villages. They live in Kaduna. They have their houses in Kaduna. So anybody who must have traveled will know them very well. That Kaduna is just the center. They don't live in their respective villages. So however, they have built these, what do you call it, insurgents or whichever way, they are just being sponsored by politicians and their elite in order to win one thing or the other.
Okay,
and
Apostle Diamond.
Yes,
thank you so much for your contribution, though. Thank you. I'll let you land before I go to General.
Yes. The essence of it, the governor has promised he will be recruiting 5,000 neighborhood watch. And we have credible Nigerians on the board now. With that, that will go a long way in complementing the efforts of the Nigerian police. And one of the priority of Governor Ambo is security, like you rightly pointed out. It is only when we have a safer Lagos that we could have investors coming in. And if you see, there is no police command as of today who has not benefited from the Lagos State Security Trust Fund. At least every police station has a patrol van, a motorbike, and some other gadgets.
And some cars also.
Yes, and cars. Just to let you know that this government wants a safer and peaceful Lagos for all of us.
Okay, as a security consultant, sir, because what the question I asked, is it true that we can prevent what happened in the northeastern part of Nigeria and what is happening even with the headsmen. If you have something like what Lagos is having now, a security neighborhood watch that will watch the people, prevent crime.
100% is impossible. Security begins with you and I. So it's not a matter of putting 100 policemen to guard these studios here. By the time you step out, somebody might be watching out for you. So like a famous American cliche, it says, if somebody really wants to kill you, he will kill you. Because once you let down your guard, you are gone.
Yes, you're gone.
But back to the issue of the Lagos security, it's a very good concept. But how deep was the investigation? We heard from the gentleman, the chairman, that a board has been set up, which is okay. But what about the elements, the operatives?
The people.
How can you scrutinize them to make sure you put the good eggs in the good basket? Because if you leave everything to politicians, I'm sorry to use that word, they will manipulate it their way, and it will not be to the benefit of the people. I'm not saying all of them are bad, just like any human aspect of life. There are good politicians and there are bad politicians. If you allow some of these bad politicians to actually lay their hands, they bring in their thugs. And the next thing you see, I'll give you a good example. When the LASMA was first inaugurated in Lagos, you see the hell we went through. All kinds of miscreants. You know, people have supported them during the campaign and that kind of thing. But now the whole place has been sanitized. You'll be surprised when you discuss with the LASMA man. He discusses at your level now.
Yes.
Then you say, oh, okay. This one is, and the
You selected a wheat from the shaft.
Exactly, that's the right word. Please, if the governor will do that, it will be beneficial to the people.
It will
Not
be.
just saying because we want to recruit, we just put everybody together. There must be a mechanism where they have to sift the wheat from the chaff.
Lovely. And the issue of the state policing, or again, let's take a look at it from this angle. People will say if you have a state police, that will help all this that is happening. Even the security people, the neighborhood watch people can still even help your police. But people are saying there will be tools in the hands of the governors. What do you think?
I don't seem to agree with such thoughts, because in fact that's part of the things that is drawing us back. When you look, it sounds funny if the governor, who is the chief security officer, cannot give a directive to the commissioner, to the police commissioner of a state. It leaves laws to be determined.
Because I remember Shetima then had problems. Then he was saying he had issues because the issue of this Boko Haram, he had been crying about it a long time. But is it because he never had the power to direct the police to where he wants them to? That's why this one affected or degenerated into what we have.
I think it's part of it. If you could remember, it was Shetima. I think it was one of the governors from the Northeast that went to meet the ex-president, telling him, these are the problems we have in a...
But they thought he was just crying
They
wolf.
thought he was crying wolf.
I have a last call on the line from Ibadan. Fatai. Good morning, Fatai. Fatai, if you hear us, there's a delay in this conversation. Just keep on talking, please.
Thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Thank you very much. My understanding of the...
Wow, I think I lost Fatai there and I waited for you. Okay, nice.
Yes.
I'll let you finish.
Like he said, these are the problems I'm facing in my state. It is the chief executive, the chief security officer who knows what is going on in the states. And if he cannot direct the security agencies of what important is that to the states. That's why we are agitating. There's no, like Captain has said, there's nowhere in this world, because even the police, we are saying, are the product of our own society. It shows the society is bad. And if the society is bad, it's you and I. If the politicians abide, it's you and I, because we have something we call societal implications. Most of these things who complain of the politician, it is our people that led them into it. So you see what we are saying in terms of the state policing is that we will be able to understand our community better than somebody being posted from Enugu State, being posted from another state to our own area.
Okay. What do you think, Major? Because the same question I asked.
I tend to agree that the local police will be okay.
Okay.
You know, but we have to find two things. You understand? The institutions are not there to support this idea. Because if you don't have a strong institution, like he's a chairman of a local government now. If we go to his local government, you will see that he's handicapped. Directives come from above to him. Everybody knows this. If he were put in a position where he can exercise the constitutional rights allotted to that office, there will be a lot of difference.
And he'll be able to protect his
Yes,
people.
then you have this local police under his command. Not somebody, not even the governor telling him. He will be the man, because he's nearest to us. Who will be the man to tell the police chief or whoever and say, well, this is what is happening in this area. But now, even if he has a report or he hears about something, he has to pass it upstairs before it gets to where it's supposed to be.
And it takes time.
It takes time.
All right. Then. Thank you, gentlemen. How time flies when you're discussing something very, very jamming. I wish we could have an extended time to continue this conversation. I thank you once again, Major Debo Basharu, retired as security consultant.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. And Barrister Rotimi Ogunwe, as well Administrator Moson Okunla, LCDA. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry
also
Christmas.
hope to have you, gentlemen, once more again on the program. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Do enjoy the holidays. And tomorrow is another day. Join us again. My name is Dakpo Aruwa Joy. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.